For centuries, Rome absolutely dominated the ancient world. Their legions were like a machine, just rolling over everyone. But how? Well, it wasn't just brute force. The real secret was their arsenal, and it was built on some truly terrifying ingenuity. So that brings us to the big question, right? What was Rome's single most terrifying weapon? When you picture a Roman soldier, that legionary in full gear, what do you imagine was the most brutal, most effective tool they had? I bet you're thinking of that iconic short sword, the Gladius. And yeah, that thing was nasty, for sure. But the true terror of Rome on the battlefield, that was something much bigger. It was a whole system. Okay, let's dive in. First, let's get right into the thick of it, where the fighting was up close and personal. We're talking about the weapons in the hands of the individual soldier. This is where battles were won and lost, one bloody step at a time. This line, it's straight from Julius Caesar himself, and it paints the perfect picture. The Roman attack was always a 1-2 punch. And notice what comes first. Before a single sword is drawn, before the front lines even crash together, the sky fills with javelins. This wasn't just a random volley, it was a perfectly calculated opening move. And this was that javelin, the pilum. But calling it just a spear doesn't do it justice. The real genius is in its design. See that long, thin metal part? It was made of soft iron, and that wasn't a mistake. It was the whole point. Because when the pilum hit something hard, like an enemy's shield, it was designed to do one thing: bend. So just imagine you're a warrior facing the Romans. This thing hits your shield, and now you have a 2-kilogram bent piece of metal stuck in it. It's weighing you down, making your shield totally useless, and you can't just yank it out in the middle of a battle. Your main defense is gone. The enemy's charge is broken before the real fight has even started. And only then, with the enemy formation in chaos and their shields ruined, then the legionaries drew their swords. The Gladius. Its short length might seem like a disadvantage, but it was its greatest strength. When you're packed shoulder to shoulder in a shield wall, there is no room for big heroic swings. The Gladius was a stabbing weapon, made for quick, brutal, lethal thrusts in the meat grinder of close quarters combat. All right, so that's the view from the ground floor. But let's zoom out. Because Roman brutality wasn't just personal. Oh no. It was also about engineering death from a distance, with horrifying precision. So, meet the ballista. And please, don't just think catapult. This was a completely different beast. It was a masterpiece of ancient science, a complex torsion weapon designed by actual engineers using, math. For all intents and purposes, this was the ancient world's sniper rifle. And this just shows you how terrifyingly versatile it was. This is real data from the Siege of Gamla. They could fire small, half-kilo darts to pick off a single soldier on a wall. Or they could load up a massive 78-kilogram stone, that's like the weight of a grown man, and just shatter fortifications. They could literally tailor the level of destruction. And they could do it from over 500 yards away. That is 5 football fields. Can you even imagine being a defender on a wall, knowing that at any second, an operator you can barely even see could take you out with a bolt you'd never see coming? Now that is calculated terror. But Rome's arsenal went beyond even that. When just killing wasn't enough, both they and their enemies got creative. They came up with weapons designed not just to hurt the body, but to completely break the mind. Okay, get this. During a siege at the city of Hatra, the defenders fought back with one of the most horrifying things I've ever heard of: scorpion bombs. Yeah. They filled clay pots with venomous scorpions, launched them over the walls, where they'd smash open right in the middle of the Roman legions. The physical threat was bad enough, but the sheer psychological impact, devastating. And this wasn't some one-off crazy idea. This kind of thinking was literally in the textbooks. Ancient siege manuals, their military field guides, openly recommended what we'd now call biological warfare, things like polluting wells with animal carcasses or poisonous herbs. To make an entire city sick, this was total war, no holds barred. So, we've seen the personal, the scientific, and the psychological brutality, but let's end this by looking at the very foundation of it all. There was a hidden science, even in the metal of the swords themselves. So here's the fundamental problem that every single ancient bladesmith had to deal with. You could use hard steel, which holds a great, sharp edge, but it's brittle, it can shatter. Or you could use softer iron, which is durable and won't break, but it can't hold a decent edge. So what do? How do you make a sword that's both razor-sharp and reliable? The Roman answer was something called pattern welding. And this was an incredibly advanced technique for the time. Smiths would take multiple rods of iron, some hard, some soft, and literally twist and hammer them together, folding them over and over and over. This process created a single blade that combined the best of both worlds, the sharp edge of hard steel with the resilience of soft iron. Just brilliant. So let's go back to that first question. What was Rome's most terrifying weapon? Well, as we've seen, it wasn't the pilum. It wasn't the gladius. It wasn't even the ballista. The real weapon was the system itself. It was this layered approach to war that attacked an enemy on every single level imaginable, from his shield to his city walls to the water he drank and the fear inside his head. And that kind of leaves us with a final, pretty heavy thought. When you look at all this innovation, from the metallurgy and their swords to the complex physics of their siege engines, you realize it was all inextricably linked with violence. It really forces you to ask, what does it mean when a society's highest science is a science of war?